Imagine this. It's August 2022. India's most talked about startup is in trouble. The stock has crashed from 138 rupees to below 50 rupees. Investors are asking one question. Has Zomato made a terrible mistake? Because just weeks ago, Zomato spent 4,400 crore to buy a company that was losing money every single month. A company the market had already written off. What happened next is a story about conviction, contrarian thinking, and one of the most surprising corporate comebacks in Indian business history. Welcome to Analysts, and today we ask, what does 4,400 crores really buy? To understand the bet, we need to go back to 2013. Two friends, Albinder Dinsa and Saurabh Kumar, started an online grocery delivery app. It's called Grofers. The idea was very simple. You order groceries online, we deliver to your door. It grew fast. SoftBank backed them. The valuation crossed $1 billion. Grofers had become one of the India's newest unicorns. But there was a problem.
जानता है तेरा बाप कौन है?
Zomato. Is it a right time to buy Zomato?
So while it's expensive, yes, but the fact still remains that there is...
Delivering groceries is hard. Margins are thin. Spoilage is high. And Indian consumers, as any shopkeeper will tell you, are extremely price sensitive. Grofers tried everything. Same-day delivery, scheduled slots, bulk discount models. Nothing produced the unit economics they needed. By 2021, the company was bleeding money every month. Its rival, Big Basket, now backed by Tata Group, had more trust, more stores, and more resources. Then came the pivot. Grofers rebranded as Blinkit and made a radical promise. 10 minutes. That's all. Not the same day, not 2 hours, 10 minutes. Most people, including most investors, thought it was a gimmick. They were wrong. By early 2022, Blinkit was still losing money, but Deepinder Goyal, the founder and CEO of Zomato, had seen something others hadn't. He had watched Zomato grow from restaurant listings to food delivery. He understood infrastructure playbooks. He understood how consumer habit compound over time. And he believed something quite simple. The same customer who orders biryani at 9 p.m. also needs milk at 7 a.m., eggs at lunch, a phone charger at midnight. The question was, who would build that infrastructure first? Deepinder decided Zomato would. In August 2022, Zomato completed the acquisition of Blinkit for 4,400 crores, paid entirely in Zomato shares. No bank loans, no cash outflow. Zomato's own equity. The market's reaction was swift and brutal. Analysts downgraded the stock. Institutional investors questioned the logic. Social media called it a vanity acquisition. Zomato is buying a money-losing grocery app at its peak valuation. This is a capital destruction. And then things got worse. 2022 was a brutal year for technology stocks globally. The US Federal Reserve raised interest rates sharply. Easy money dried up overnight, and loss-making growth companies like Zomato got punished in every markets. Investors who had entered at the IPO had lost nearly 70% of their money. And now the company had added Blinkit, another cash-burning business, to its balance sheet. But Deepinder Goyal kept writing letters. Every quarter he published a detailed shareholder letter. Not just numbers, but thinking, vision, his personal conviction about what quick commerce would become. He compared the Blinkit build-out to what Amazon did with Prime, a bet that looked expensive and irrational right until it became obvious and essential. Most investors read those letters and moved on, but a small numbers read them and held. The question the market was asking was simple. Is Deepinder dreaming, or does he actually know something? Here is where the numbers start to tell a very different story. A dark store is not a scary place. It's simply a small warehouse around 2,000 to 3,000 square feet, placed inside a residential neighborhood. No retail customers, no walk-ins. Orders come only through the app. Because it does not need a prime retail location, rent is much lower because it serves a 2-kilometer radius. Delivery is fast and cheap. A typical dark store stocks around 5,000 SKUs. Fast-moving everyday items, packaged foods, dairy, medicines, household supplies, personal care. Now here is the unit economics breakdown. Average order value, 400 rupees to 600 rupees. Delivery cost per order, 35 to 45 rupees. A single dark store doing 600 to 800 orders per day can reach EBITDA breakdown in 12 to 18 months. Now multiply that across hundreds of stores in dozens of cities. But here is the number that changed everything. In Q2 of financial year 2025, Blinkit's gross order value crossed the gross order value of Zomato's food delivery business. The side bet had become the main business. In less than 3 years, the acquisition that everyone mocked had become the most valuable assets on Zomato's books. 4,400 crore in, 60,000 crore plus in value out, 13 times in under 3 years. That is what a well-placed, well-timed bet looks like inside. The market is always late, but it always arrives. When Blinkit's numbers started showing up in Zomato's quarterly results, clean, consistent, and accelerating, the same analyst who had downgraded the stock quietly upgraded it again. But there is something else the numbers tells us. Competition ended, and the competition in business is actually a validation. Every major player looked at cucumbers and decided, we need to be here. When your competitors rethink their entire strategy to compete with you, you have already won something. Blinkit was not first to cucumbers, but it was the fastest to scale. And in platform business, distribution is everything. By the time competitors had 300 dark stores, Blinkit had 700. By the time they had crossed 500, Blinkit was already building towards 1000. Scale compounds just like interest. So what can we as investors take from this story? Lesson 1. Conviction is not the same as certainty. Deepinder Goyal did not know Blinkit would succeed. He had a thesis. He built a plan around it. He communicated it clearly to shareholders, and he held when everyone doubted him. Lesson 2. The market misprices the conviction. When a CEO bets on something the market does not yet understand, the stock falls. When the number eventually proves the thesis, the stock rises. The gap between those two moments, it is called opportunity. Lesson 3. Unit economics matter more than the headlines. The headline was Zomato buys money-losing startup. But the unit economics said dark stores break even in 18 months, growing average order value, falling delivery cost per order. If you had read the footnotes, you had an edge over the market. Lesson 4. Time is the multiplier. 4,400 crores becomes 60,000 crore in value, not in a decade, in under 3 years. The market rewarded the patience, but only when the underlying thesis was correct from the start. Zomato started as a food delivery company. Blinkit started as a failing grocery app. Together, they become the infrastructure of modern Indian urban life. Every number in this story had a story behind it. The 4,400 crore that looked like a waste, the 40 rupees stock that looked like a failure, the 600 daily orders per dark store that looked like a footnote. That is what we do here on Analysts. We read the numbers that others skip. If you found value in this episode, subscribe to Analysts. Share it with one person who talks about stocks but never reads the balance sheet. Every number has a story. Are you reading it?